Let's bring our guy Mike on here. So please welcome the show, host of Lions Talk by Chat Sports, MicroMike, the one, the only. Mike, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Appreciate it here. I'm definitely not at my house right now, so I apologize using my cell phone. So hopefully it sounds decent for you guys.
Hey, we'll make it work, Mike. Hey, we appreciate you taking the time today. I know we were talking about Jared Goff. I want your thoughts on just the contract extension. I know you probably put up something already, and you're going to be talking about it on your channel, which people can go check out. But just your thoughts on him signing the deal, the no trade clause, and everything that kind of entails. Your reaction to it, getting the deal done.
First off, man, congratulations, Jared Goff. This guy was thrown away over there in LA, and he comes here. He gets a mega deal, second highest right now in the NFL for a quarterback. I like it. I appreciate it. Like everything that happened to this guy from being at the situation he was in to now, we got a franchise quarterback is great. I'm happy they got the extension done. It was important to have those three pieces done, St. Brown, Penei Sewell, and of course, Jared Goff. Happy he's going to be our quarterback for the next 5 years. When it comes to the no trade clause, I'm perfectly fine with it. I mean, the guy was traded from LA, so he doesn't want to go through this situation again, and he's getting married, probably start a family. So I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm just happy this extension is done because his extension got me extended, and it made me very happy. So
just sliding that in there.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, Mike, I want to ask you too.
Slide it always in, man.
I want to ask you about the numbers with the deal. Are you okay with the numbers? Kind of, I know it was $212 million over the 4 years there, the highest guaranteed we've ever seen in the NFL. Are you fine with the numbers? And I know today the cap hits came out, and I'm guessing in 2026 it's like $60 million or something. But kind of, we talked about it. It could be restructured. Are you fine with the way that they did the numbers and how it all came out?
It's definitely a little bit pricey. Yeah, I probably thought it'd be a little bit less than the 52 or 53 million what it ends up being. But look, I mean, that's the price you got to pay for the quarterbacks nowadays. The guy had top 5 stats in every single category, and it's really difficult probably to have the edge if you're the Lions, front office when you have everyone chanting his name. So with everything going on, they didn't have much leverage, and I'm perfectly fine with it. And the cap goes up every year, right? And probably by the start of the NFL season, he'll be the 7th highest paid quarterback when Dak gets his done and the other quarterbacks do their thing. So, it's the name of the business. I mean, if there was no cap, I would never care what a player gets paid. It's just the cap situation. And I think Brad Holmes, he knows what he's doing, so I trust Brad Holmes with the numbers. A little bit pricey, but it's okay.
Mike, and it's something that, and I'll be honest, the thing that kind of not concerns me, that definitely makes me kind of back off a little bit more, is not the money, but the 4 years part of it. Do you think Jared is a quarterback that'll be able to hold up his end of the bargain that he just signed this contract with for the longevity of his contract?
That's a difficult, thing to really feel, is how the offensive line is going to be next year and the following year and the following year after that. I think it really depends on the offensive line, right? So if the offensive line is really good, Jared Goff's going to have time, and he's elite at reading defenses and distributing the football. So I'm not worried about the injury front like Kirk Cousins or other quarterbacks who get injured. It's just more of the offensive line. Can they keep that strong? Because we know if Jared Goff is getting pressure, he's definitely not as good as he is standing in the pocket. So if they can keep the foundation of the offensive line, Penei Sewell, if Frank Ragnow stays here after this year and everything like that goes well, I'm fine with it.
And Mike, too, I mean, the schedule got released. We did a game-by-game breakdown, and we collectively we all have the same record now at 13-4. I want your record prediction, Mike. You looked at the schedule. What do you think? Well, maybe some tough matchups. Your thoughts on the opening game versus the Rams, primetime.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because when I went through the schedule, I felt like I was a homer because I kept saying win, and I'm like, is this really, like, the schedule's tough. Why am I considering all these wins? But I do think that the Lions are going to have like a 12-win season. If you say 11-13, that seems about right? Like, they're facing the Rams at home. I think they're going to beat the Rams. I think they're a better football team than the LA Rams. They have only 3 games outside the whole season. 3 games. Wow. Everything else is in a dome, and Jared Goff thrives in a dome. So, yeah, I think they're going to be up there probably with the number 1 seed. It's going to come down to that Week 17 matchup with San Francisco. Lions have to win that game because that literally could determine who's the number 1 seed.
Hey, do you think too, Mike, the week 5 bye, that was like a big thing we talked about yesterday, and a lot of people on the internet were talking about the week 5 bye. We did see last year, like all the injuries, and that bye week kind of came at a good time. It felt like, I think we had it like week 9, I believe, last year. Do you think that's going to affect at all? In my head, I figured it was just, hey, Dan's going to have them ready at a certain point. But do you think like that's going to affect them going in, especially with some of those tougher games down the stretch?
Yeah, for sure, man. The bye week was booty cheeks, right? Like getting it at week 5, that absolutely sucks because you want these guys to rest up at least halfway through the season. I honestly think they should do 2 bye weeks at this point. When you're having a team having a bye week at week 5, that's way too early. They got to really change the bye week situation going on there in the NFL. It's just uncalled for. It's a big disadvantage to have one this early, right? So you want these guys rest up. The only thing that I see good about the bye week is it's right before Dallas Cowboys. And I want this team prepared to beat the living crap out of the Dallas Cowboys. So if they beat Dallas because of that bye week, I'll be happy for it.
And just kind of staying on the schedule, Mike, looking at these divisional games, because obviously winning the division, obviously we all want the number 1 seed, but to do that, you got to win the division. Which divisional game do you think the Lions are going to have the most struggle with coming out of there with the W?
That's a good question. It's weird last year, right? We defeated Chicago in Detroit, and it was barely done. Then we go to Chicago, we lose, and in Green Bay, we beat them at Green Bay and lose at house. So I think the most difficult game when it comes to the NFC North is probably going to be going to Green Bay at Lambeau Field this time. They're not going to be the same team that we faced last year. They're not going to give up 24 to like 7 in the first half or whatever it was. It's going to be a much tighter game, much closer game. Their fan base is revved up, and I think that's going to be tough. Minnesota, I ain't too worried about them. Chicago, yeah, they'll be up and down this year, but I think Green Bay will probably be the toughest.
I'll stay on the schedule here too, Mike. In terms of that getting that number 1 seed, we all agree. We talk about it on the show a lot. We think the Eagles are going to bounce back and be better. The 49ers are always going to be in the equation. I think the Lions should be, to me, the favorite to go out there and get the number 1 seed. But then you see the 49ers. I know it's just the odds. It's early, but they're the only team favorite in every single game. What's your confidence level? I know you mentioned 11 to 13 wins is realistic. Going out and chasing that 1 seed, and should that be the goal? Because they have a tough matchup. They get that 49ers game at the end of the season there. I think it's before the Minnesota game to close out the year, but just your confidence in that 1 seed.
Man, we got to get that number 1 seed. If we had that NFC Championship in Detroit, we win this game. We're in the Super Bowl. There's so many things that was so came close for the Lions to get to the Super Bowl, and I do think that we got to get that number 1 seed, and that's the goal. It's not just winning the NFC North now; it's getting to the number 1 seed and having the playoffs go through Detroit. Dan Campbell said it 2 years ago. It's going to come through Detroit, and that's what we got to do. You want to be favored. You want to bye week right, at wild card weekend and rest up, and then play the next couple home games in Ford Field is extremely important. Yeah, that 49ers game is going to be tough. I mean, it's literally the second last game of the season. The line's going to be beat up. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be the most pivotal game of this whole season is that 49ers game.
Man, I can't wait for. I'm already pumped for that week. I got one more question here, Mike, for you. Just about these rookies. We saw the mini cap happen on Saturday here, and we saw all these videos and everything about Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw kind of going back and forth at it. Rakestraw actually asking Terrion questions, and then the Terrion pick 6. What are your thoughts after seeing the mini camp? I don't know if you were able to get there on Friday, but what are your kind of thoughts on this DB room now with the rookies and kind of the step that they could take? Do you think Terrion's going to end up starting right away and be just a dude out there?
Hey, Mike, he's got Puka Nacua week 1, man.
Right off the bat.
Yeah, he's got. Well, look, it couldn't be worse than last year, right? Puka Nacua went off, and they still lost. I think Terrion Arnold is epic. I really like Terrion Arnold. This guy makes me hard. I'm not going to lie. When I look at his tape, he is very fluid. He's going to hold that. It's true, man. I had a crush on him. I'm very happy we went and traded up and got him. He's going to really hold down this secondary. This young secondary is going to be good. I don't know how long Rakestraw is going to take probably a little bit of time. He'll be more nickel. But Terrion Arnold, he's got his hands full, but I think he's up to the task. I really, really do believe so. Very smart, intelligent. He just needs to get the scheme down this training camp and get ready for Puka Nacua.
What do you think, Lucas? Damn,
man.
Terrion, I think he gets us all excited. Maybe not that necessarily that way excited.
Hey, I'll go out there with Mike. Me
I'm
too.
with you, Mike.
Me too, Mike.
Hell yeah, man. I had him in my mock draft. I said the Lions are going to trade up and get this guy, and they absolutely did it. So for someone who, you put your content out there, and you're hoping that the stuff comes right. So when they got this guy, I swear I felt like I went in my pants really quick. I just couldn't believe it. So look, what was the two positions we needed, right? Secondary, corner, and edge, man. And we fixed that corner position like crazy. It's been an Achilles heel for this team since we traded away Darius Slay and got rid of Diggs. And I think we finally got it down pat. And that makes me so happy because I want to win a Super Bowl. I want to get to the Super Bowl. And you've seen in the playoffs what happened to our secondary where they were getting torched. It's not going to be like that this year, and that's so, so good.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Kind of something that we saw in the playoffs as well is Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. Both of them were making a huge impact in the playoff games. Do you think that Jahmyr Gibbs, we have this conversation all the time on the show, do you think that Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, their roles kind of stay similar? Obviously, Brad said Jahmyr is going to get more of the rock, so there will be a little bit more increase at the very minimum. But how much do you think that's going to change as far as the difference in carries this year?
I think Jahmyr Gibbs will get more carries than David Montgomery. I think it's going to be very similar to when we had Jamal Williams, the situation there, and DeAndre Swift. But this time, it's going to be Gibbs getting more of the carries. I mean, the guy is absolutely stunning. I think he could be the best running back in football this year. He has a chance to be an offensive player of the year. That's how much I think of Jahmyr Gibbs. They know this. We all know this. We've seen this guy play, and he needs to get the majority of the touches. And remember, David Montgomery's last year in Detroit is this year. I mean, they probably won't bring him back. So you go ahead and give Gibbs the job, hand him the keys, and make him number one.
That fits Klotzy's narrative.
What I've been saying, Mike, is, and there was a player that he's been comped to out of the draft, is when Alvin Kamara went to New Orleans, they had Mark Ingram. And especially year one, it was a very heavy dose of Mark Ingram, and then Alvin Kamara kind of split it to like a 50-50 type of thing. But even in year two, it went to like a 70-30. And then the following year, it was like Mark Ingram was there, but then it was like, oh shit, Mark Ingram's now a 1,000-yard running back for the Baltimore Ravens. It's not like Mark Ingram wasn't good, but when you have a guy like Alvin Kamara, like Jahmyr Gibbs, you let them just take over that backfield. And obviously, you need a decent running back with Jahmyr Gibbs with his frame. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm not discounting David Montgomery whatsoever, but I just think there's a difference between the two.
David Montgomery's awesome. I don't think anybody is ripping on David Montgomery. The guy is an awesome running back. I love him. But Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, could be the best running back in football. When you have a guy this talented like Gibbs, you got to give this man the touches. We've seen his progress, right? We've seen him slowly get worked in there, and then the Vegas game hit, and he blew up. He got really patient in the pocket, waiting for the hole, and just exploded. So that's what we're going to see. And she needs to be the number one running back. I love David Montgomery, but Gibbs is better, right? I mean, Gibbs is awesome.
Sure.
So you've got to give this guy the touches, but not every single touch, right? You're not going to overload the guy. You want to keep him all the way through the playoffs and into a Super Bowl. But he should get over 1,000 yards. I can't even imagine how many yards all-purpose he's going to get this year between Josh Reynolds not being here and Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield. Oh, it's going to be amazing. He's going to be a special player. Alvin Kamara, good comparison. Chris Johnson, former Titans running back, a really good comparison as well.
I think you know what? We've had this argument yesterday, Mike. I think you've kind of bridged the gap over there. We're not talking Jared Goff bridge, as Easy would say, but bridge the gap with our argument here.
What do you think? Before you go, what do you think about that, Mike? The bridge stuff. Is that dead?
I heard it today. I was kind of shocked. I don't know where you're at with it.
Because we think it's dead. We think it's dead at this point.
Yeah. I remember there was some bridge that got torn down or whatever that got hit by a big old ship and it took Baltimore. It down. That was Jared Goff's bridge. It no longer exists. He's not he's the second highest paid player in the NFL right now. He's not a bridge quarterback. You don't pay a guy the money of $212 million for a 4-year extension if he's a bridge. Yeah, he's not a bridge. Like, if a lot of people still think he's a bridge, hey, Santa Claus is also real to them as well.
Wouldn't be
shocked.
God, we love you, Mike. You take care out there, my friend. You keep up
legend.
the great work. Guys, you guys know who MicroMike is. Check out. He's absolutely crushing it as always. And
Appreciate
hopefully we can
you,
talk
Mike.
to you soon, my man. We appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Everybody, make sure you hit that like button for these guys. They're killing it. And I'd want to see them kind of go above a former employer of theirs. So continue to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, make them the top dog.
Yeah, let's go, Mike.
Appreciate you.
What a
Mike.
legend. MicroMike, you guys can check him out. Again, Lions Talk by Chat Sports. Mike, Adam was saying you might have been kidnapped. You look like you've been kidnapped. You're in Ukraine. I hope everything's all good. But not sure what's going on.
Yes, I have been kidnapped. It is done. And there's the person that kidnapped me right there. So, yeah, we're going to have some fun, though. This kidnapping is not like other kidnapping, so I'm excited.
Whoa, okay. Hey, Mike, you do you tonight. All right, you do you. That's why we love you.
All right, take it easy, fellas.
Mike.
See ya, Mike. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Mike. Oh, what
He's
a legend.
something, man.
He says, this ain't no
I love
kidnapping.
him,
Yeah, Mike get. Hey, shout out to him. What a guy.